Stories and Documentary Network. The Magadha Kingdom, one of the most powerful and influential realms in ancient India, emerged as a dominant force during the 6th century BCE. Located in the fertile plains of what is now modern-day Bihar and parts of Jharkhand, Magadha played a crucial role in shaping the political, cultural, and religious landscape of ancient India. Its strategic location along the Ganges River, coupled with its abundant natural resources, made it a center of power, commerce, and intellectual activity. Over the centuries, Magadha grew from a modest kingdom into a vast empire, laying the groundwork for some of India's most significant historical developments, including the rise of the Maurya Empire. Magadha's significance in ancient Indian history cannot be overstated. It was the cradle of two major religions, Buddhism and Jainism, that would go on to influence millions of people across Asia. The kingdom's rulers, especially under the Haryanka, Shaishunaga, and Nanda dynasties, were instrumental in the political unification of northern India. Magadha was also a key player in the Mahajanapada period, a time when various small kingdoms and republics vied for supremacy. The administrative innovations, military strategies, and diplomatic maneuvers of Magadha's rulers set the stage for the eventual rise of the Maurya Empire, which would become one of the largest empires in Indian history. Magadha's influence extended beyond its borders through trade, culture, and religion. Its capital, Pataliputra, became one of the most prominent cities in the ancient world, attracting scholars, traders, and travelers from distant lands. The kingdom's support for Buddhism, in particular, played a vital role in the religion's spread across Asia, with figures like Emperor Ashoka, who hailed from Magadha, being central to its propagation. The history of the Magadha kingdom is pieced together from various sources, including ancient texts, inscriptions, and archaeological discoveries. Key literary sources include the Buddhist texts such as the Pali Canon, the Jain scriptures, and ancient Hindu texts like the Mahabharata and the Puranas. Additionally, the works of foreign travelers and historians, such as the Greek historian Megasthenes, who served as an ambassador to the Maurya court, provide valuable insights into the kingdom's grandeur and governance. Archaeological excavations have also contributed significantly to our understanding of Magadha. Sites such as Rajagriha, modern Rajgir, and Pataliputra, modern Patna, have revealed remnants of ancient fortifications, palaces, and urban planning, attesting to the kingdom's advanced infrastructure and administrative capabilities. These findings, combined with literary sources, offer a comprehensive view of Magadha's rise to prominence and its enduring legacy in Indian history. The Magadha kingdom was strategically situated in the eastern part of the Indian subcontinent, encompassing the fertile plains of present-day Bihar and parts of Jharkhand. This region, bordered by the Ganges River to the north, the Sun River to the west, and the Chotanagpur Plateau to the south, provided a rich and diverse landscape that supported agricultural prosperity and trade. The heart of the kingdom was centered around key cities like Rajagriha, modern Rajgir, and Pataliputra, modern Patna, which served as political and cultural capitals during different periods of Magadha's history. The region's geographic location made it a crucial hub for commerce and communication, connecting the northern and southern parts of India. The proximity to the Ganges River, one of the most important waterways in ancient India, allowed for efficient transportation, facilitating trade and the movement of armies. The Sun River, a major tributary of the Ganges, further enhanced the kingdom's agricultural capabilities by providing essential water resources for irrigation. Magadha's geographic location endowed it with abundant natural resources, which contributed to its economic strength and political power. The fertile alluvial soil of the Ganges plains was ideal for agriculture, allowing the kingdom to produce surplus crops such as rice, wheat, and barley. This agricultural wealth not only sustained a growing population but also enabled Magadha to support large armies and undertake expansive building projects. The region was also rich in minerals, particularly iron ore, which was crucial for the production of weapons and tools. The availability of iron resources in the Chotanagpur Plateau gave Magadha a significant military advantage, allowing it to equip its armies with superior weaponry. Additionally, the kingdom had access to forests that provided timber for construction and elephants, which were used both in warfare and as a symbol of royal power. The strategic advantages of Magadha's location also extended to its natural defenses. The kingdom was surrounded by hills and rivers, which acted as natural barriers against invasions. This terrain made it difficult for enemy forces to penetrate the heartland of Magadha, allowing the kingdom to maintain its independence and expand its influence over neighboring regions. Before the rise of the Magadha Kingdom, the region was inhabited by various tribal communities, including the Angas, Vangas, and Karatas. These early inhabitants had their own distinct cultures, languages, and social structures, which gradually merged with the emerging Magadhan society. The process of cultural amalgamation contributed to the development of a unique Magadhan identity, characterized by a mix of indigenous practices and influences from neighboring regions. The early inhabitants of Magadha practiced a variety of religious and cultural traditions. Animism, ancestor worship, and the veneration of nature spirits were common, reflecting the close relationship between the people and their natural environment. Over time, these beliefs were integrated into the broader religious landscape of ancient India with the rise of Brahmanism, Buddhism, and Jainism in the region. Cultural practices in early Magadha also included the development of art, literature, and architecture. The kingdom became a center for learning and intellectual activity, attracting scholars, philosophers, and religious leaders. The influence of Magadha's cultural and intellectual contributions can be seen in the spread of Buddhism and Jainism, both of which found fertile ground in the kingdom's tolerant and diverse society. The Ganges and Sun rivers played a pivotal role in shaping the geographic, economic, and cultural landscape of Magadha. The Ganges, revered as a sacred river in Hinduism, was not only a lifeline for agriculture but also a crucial artery for trade and communication. Its vast network of tributaries connected Magadha to other parts of the Indian subcontinent, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultural practices. The Sun River, flowing through the western part of Magadha, complemented the Ganges by providing additional water resources for irrigation and transportation. The confluence of these two rivers near Pataliputra created a natural junction for trade routes, further enhancing the kingdom's economic prosperity. The origins of the Magadha kingdom can be traced back to the Vedic period, around the 6th century BCE, when the region began to emerge as a significant political entity. During this time, Magadha was one of the 16 Mahajanapadas, or Great Realms, that dotted the landscape of northern India. These Mahajanapadas were independent kingdoms or republics, each with its own unique culture, governance, and military power. Among them, Magadha stood out due to its strategic location, fertile land, and the ambition of its rulers, which set the stage for its eventual dominance. Magadha's early history is closely tied to the Brihadratha and Pratyota dynasties, which are considered to be among the first ruling houses of the kingdom. Although historical records from this period are sparse and often intertwined with legend, these dynasties are believed to have played a crucial role in laying the foundations of Magadha's political and military power. The Brihadratha dynasty is traditionally considered the first ruling dynasty of Magadha. According to legend, the dynasty was founded by Brihadratha, a king of the Ikshvaku lineage, who is said to have established his rule in the region. The Brihadrathas were likely tribal chieftains who gradually expanded their influence over the surrounding territories, consolidating power and establishing a rudimentary form of governance. The dynasty's reign, however, remains shrouded in myth, with little concrete evidence to fully reconstruct its history. Following the Brihadrathas, the Pratyota dynasty is believed to have ruled Magadha. The Pratyotas were known for their military prowess and are credited with furthering the political consolidation of the kingdom. The most notable ruler of this dynasty was Pratyota Mahasena, who is often remembered for his aggressive expansionist policies. Under his leadership, Magadha began to emerge as a significant power among the Mahajanapadas, challenging neighboring kingdoms for supremacy. However, the Pratyota dynasty's rule was relatively short-lived, eventually giving way to the Haryanka dynasty, which would mark the beginning of Magadha's rise as a major imperial power. One of the key developments during the early history of Magadha was the foundation of urban centers, which became the administrative and cultural hubs of the kingdom. Among these, Rajagriha, modern-day Rajgir, was the most significant. Rajagriha, meaning House of the King, served as the capital of Magadha during the reign of the early dynasties and was a symbol of the kingdom's growing power and sophistication. Rajagriha was strategically located in a valley surrounded by 5 hills, providing natural fortification against invasions. The city was well planned, with fortifications, palaces, and other public buildings that reflected the architectural advancements of the time. It became a center for political administration, religious activity, and trade, attracting scholars, monks, and merchants from across the region. The city also held religious significance, particularly for Buddhism and Jainism. Both Gautama Buddha and Mahavira, the founders of Buddhism and Jainism respectively, spent considerable time in Rajagriha, teaching and gathering followers. This contributed to the city's reputation as a spiritual center, further enhancing Magadha's cultural influence in ancient India. During the 6th century BCE, the Indian subcontinent was divided into 16 major states known as the Mahajanapadas. These states were either monarchies or republics, and they were engaged in constant competition for territory, resources, and influence. Magadha, initially one of these Mahajanapadas, began to distinguish itself through a combination of military strength, strategic diplomacy, and economic prosperity. Magadha's geographic location provided it with several advantages over other Mahajanapadas. Its fertile land supported a robust agricultural economy, which in turn funded a powerful military. Additionally, Magadha's rulers were skilled in forming alliances, often through strategic marriages, which helped to secure the kingdom's borders and expand its influence without the need for constant warfare. The political landscape of the Mahajanapadas was dynamic, with frequent conflicts and shifting alliances. Magadha's rise was marked by its ability to navigate this complex environment, gradually annexing neighboring states and consolidating power. By the time of the Haryanka dynasty, Magadha had already begun to emerge as the most powerful of the Mahajanapadas, setting the stage for its eventual transformation into an empire under subsequent dynasties. The Haryanka dynasty marks the beginning of Magadha's transformation into a major political and military power in ancient India. The dynasty's rise is closely associated with King Bimbisara, one of the most celebrated rulers in Indian history. Bimbisara ascended the throne around 543 BCE, and his reign is widely regarded as the beginning of Magadha's golden age. Bimbisara was a visionary ruler who understood the importance of consolidating power and expanding his kingdom's influence. He undertook a series of military campaigns that brought large swaths of land under Magadhan control. His conquests included the annexation of the kingdom of Anga, located to the east of Magadha, which gave him access to vital trade routes and resources, particularly the port of Champa, a center for maritime trade. This acquisition significantly enhanced Magadha's economic strength and provided a springboard for further expansion. Bimbisara's military successes were complemented by his efforts to centralize authority within Magadha. He strengthened the administrative apparatus of the kingdom, ensuring that power was concentrated in the hands of the monarch. By appointing loyal officials and establishing a system of governance that extended his influence throughout the kingdom, Bimbisara laid the foundation for Magadha's future dominance. Bimbisara was not only a formidable military leader but also a shrewd diplomat. He understood that diplomacy could be as powerful as the sword in expanding and securing his kingdom. One of his most effective strategies was the use of marriage alliances to forge political ties with neighboring states. These alliances helped Bimbisara to neutralize potential threats and secure Magadha's borders without resorting to constant warfare. One of the most significant of these alliances was Bimbisara's marriage to Kosala Devi, the sister of King Prasenjit of Kosala. This alliance not only brought peace between Magadha and the powerful kingdom of Kosala but also included the gift of the city of Kashi as part of the dowry, further increasing Magadha's territory and wealth. Bimbisara also married the daughter of the chief of the Lashavis, another important neighboring state, thereby strengthening his ties with this influential republican clan. These marriages were part of a broader strategy to create a network of allies who would support Magadha's ambitions. By integrating his kingdom into the regional political landscape through these alliances, Bimbisara ensured that Magadha would not face unified opposition from its neighbors, allowing him to focus on internal consolidation and governance. Bimbisara was a pioneer in administrative reforms, and his innovations laid the groundwork for the efficient governance of Magadha. He is credited with establishing a centralized administration that allowed for effective control over the kingdom's vast territories. This system included the division of the kingdom into various administrative units, each overseen by officials directly accountable to the king. One of Bimbisara's key administrative reforms was the introduction of a system of regular taxation, which provided a steady revenue stream for the kingdom. This revenue was used to maintain a standing army, fund public works, and support the royal court. Bimbisara also encouraged trade and commerce by improving infrastructure, such as roads and marketplaces, and by ensuring the safety of trade routes. This economic prosperity further strengthened Magadha's position as a dominant power in the region. Bimbisara's governance was marked by a balance between central authority and local autonomy. While the king maintained tight control over key aspects of administration, local chieftains and leaders were often allowed to govern their regions with a degree of independence, as long as they remained loyal to the throne. This approach helped to integrate newly conquered territories into the kingdom without causing significant unrest. Bimbisara's reign was also significant for the role he played in the early development of Buddhism and Jainism, two religions that would profoundly shape Indian civilization. Bimbisara was a contemporary of both Gautama Buddha and Mahavira, the founders of Buddhism and Jainism, respectively, and he is often depicted as a key patron of these religious movements. According to Buddhist tradition, Bimbisara met Gautama Buddha before the latter's enlightenment and was deeply impressed by his teachings. After Buddha attained enlightenment, Bimbisara became one of his earliest and most important royal patrons. He donated the bamboo grove, Veluvana, near Rajagriha to the Buddhist Sangha, which became one of the first monastic communities in the Buddhist tradition. Bimbisara's support for Buddhism played a crucial role in the religion's early spread, providing it with the resources and protection it needed to grow. Similarly, Bimbisara is believed to have shown favor to Mahavira, the 24th Tirthankara of Jainism. His patronage of Jainism, along with Buddhism, reflects the religious tolerance that characterized his reign. This support for new religious movements helped to establish Magadha as a center of spiritual and intellectual activity, attracting scholars and monks from across India. After Bimbisara's death, his son Ajatashatru ascended the throne, continuing the expansionist policies of his father but with a more aggressive approach. Ajatashatru's reign was marked by a series of military conflicts that further extended Magadha's territory and solidified its dominance in northern India. One of Ajatashatru's most significant military campaigns was against the kingdom of Kosala, ruled by his uncle Prasenjit. Although initially allies through marriage, relations between Magadha and Kosala deteriorated after Bimbisara's death. Ajatashatru eventually went to war with Kosala, and after a series of battles, he emerged victorious, annexing significant portions of Kosala's territory into Magadha. Ajatashatru also waged a prolonged war against the Lashavis, a powerful republican state to the north of Magadha. The Lashavis were known for their strong army and democratic governance, and they posed a significant challenge to Magadha's expansion. Ajatashatru employed innovative military strategies, including the construction of a fortified city called Pataliputra, modern-day Patna, at the confluence of the Ganges and Sun rivers, which served as a base for his campaigns against the Lashavis. After years of conflict, Ajatashatru finally defeated the Lashavis, incorporating their territory into Magadha and further consolidating his kingdom's power. The Shaishunaga dynasty marked a new chapter in the history of Magadha, following the end of the Haryanka dynasty. The dynasty is traditionally believed to have been founded by Shaishunaga, a former minister or possibly a provincial governor who rose to power after the overthrow of the last Haryanka king, Nagadasaka. The exact circumstances of this transition remain unclear, but it is widely accepted that Shaishunaga came to power amid political turmoil and instability in Magadha. His rise to power is considered significant as it re-established order and continuity in the kingdom, ensuring that Magadha retained its position as a dominant power in northern India. The Shaishunaga dynasty is often seen as a transitional period in Magadhan history, bridging the gap between the Haryanka dynasty and the more powerful Nanda dynasty that would follow. Despite this, the Shaishunaga rulers made important contributions to the kingdom's expansion and administration, setting the stage for the future unification of India under the Maurya Empire. One of the most significant developments during the Shaishunaga dynasty was the shift of the capital from Rajagriha to Pataliputra, modern-day Patna. While Rajagriha had been a stronghold for the Haryanka dynasty, Pataliputra's strategic location at the confluence of the Ganges and Sun rivers offered significant advantages. The city's location made it a natural hub for trade, communication, and military operations, connecting Magadha to the broader Indian subcontinent. Pataliputra was initially founded by Ajatashatru, the Haryanka king, as a fortified city to aid in his campaigns against the Lashavas. Under the Shaishunaga dynasty, the city began to grow in importance, eventually becoming the political and administrative capital of Magadha. The shift of the capital to Pataliputra reflected the dynasty's recognition of the city's potential as a center of power and its role in securing Magadha's dominance in the region. The decision to move the capital to Pataliputra also had long-term implications for Magadha. The city would continue to serve as the capital under subsequent dynasties, including the Nandas and Mauryas, becoming one of the most important urban centers in ancient India. Pataliputra's prominence as a capital city was instrumental in the administration and governance of a vast empire, contributing to Magadha's ability to maintain control over its territories. The Shaishunaga dynasty is credited with continuing the expansionist policies of its predecessors, further enlarging the territory of Magadha. Shaishunaga and his successors engaged in several military campaigns that extended Magadha's influence across northern India. One of the key achievements of this period was the annexation of the kingdom of Avanti, located in present-day Madhya Pradesh, which had been a long-standing rival of Magadha. The conquest of Avanti was a significant victory for Magadha, as it not only eliminated a major rival but also expanded Magadha's control over the central Indian plateau. This victory allowed Magadha to dominate the trade routes that passed through Avanti, further enhancing the kingdom's economic strength. The annexation of Avanti also demonstrated the military prowess of the Shaishunaga rulers and their ability to project power beyond the traditional boundaries of Magadha. In addition to the conquest of Avanti, the Shaishunaga dynasty also strengthened Magadha's position in the eastern regions of India. The dynasty consolidated control over territories in present-day Bengal and Odisha, extending Magadha's influence to the eastern coast of the subcontinent. This expansion further integrated the kingdom into the broader economic and cultural networks of ancient India, increasing its wealth and prestige. The Shaishunaga period was also marked by significant cultural and economic developments. As Magadha's territory expanded, so did its cultural and intellectual influence. Pataliputra, as the new capital, became a melting pot of different cultures, ideas, and traditions. The city attracted scholars, artists, and religious leaders from across the subcontinent, contributing to the cultural flourishing of the kingdom. Under the Shaishunaga dynasty, Magadha continued to be a center for the spread of Buddhism and Jainism. The rulers of this dynasty are believed to have patronized both religions, supporting the construction of monasteries and the propagation of religious teachings. This patronage helped to further establish Magadha as a spiritual center in ancient India, where diverse religious traditions coexisted and thrived. Economically, the Shaishunaga dynasty capitalized on Magadha's strategic location and natural resources. The fertile plains of the Ganges continued to support a robust agricultural economy, while the expansion of the kingdom brought new resources and wealth into the region. The control of important trade routes, particularly those connecting the northern and eastern parts of India, allowed Magadha to engage in extensive trade with other kingdoms and regions, further boosting its economic prosperity. The Nanda dynasty emerged as a powerful force in Magadha following the decline of the Shaishunaga dynasty. The dynasty was founded by Mahatma Nanda, a figure of humble origins who rose to prominence through his military and administrative acumen. Mahatma Nanda is credited with laying the foundations of the Nanda Empire, which would become one of the most influential dynasties in ancient Indian history. Mahatma Nanda, often referred to as the first Nanda emperor, consolidated and expanded the Magadha Empire through a combination of military conquests and administrative reforms. His reign marked the beginning of a new era of economic prosperity and political stability in Magadha. The Nanda dynasty is particularly noted for its contributions to the centralization of power, the expansion of territory, and the enhancement of the kingdom's economic and administrative infrastructure. Under the Nandas, Magadha experienced significant territorial expansion. The dynasty extended its influence over large parts of northern and eastern India, incorporating regions such as Bengal, Odisha, and parts of present-day Uttar Pradesh. This expansion laid the groundwork for the future unification of the Indian subcontinent under the Maurya Empire. One of the key achievements of the Nanda dynasty was its focus on economic prosperity. The Nandas recognized the importance of trade and agriculture in sustaining and expanding their empire. They implemented policies that fostered economic growth, which in turn supported the kingdom's military and administrative efforts. The Nanda rulers actively promoted trade by improving infrastructure, such as roads and ports, which facilitated commerce with other regions. The kingdom's strategic location along major trade routes allowed Magadha to become a central hub for trade between the north and east of India. This position enabled the Nandas to control and benefit from lucrative trade in goods such as silk, spices, and other commodities. Agriculture also played a crucial role in the economic prosperity of the Nanda Empire. The fertile plains of the Ganges and other river valleys provided the agricultural foundation for the kingdom. The Nandas introduced advanced irrigation techniques and improved land management practices, which increased agricultural output and supported a growing population. The revenue generated from agriculture was used to fund military campaigns, administrative reforms, and public works, further enhancing the empire's stability and growth. The Nanda dynasty is renowned for its administrative innovations and efforts to centralize power. The Nanda rulers implemented a centralized bureaucracy that allowed for more efficient governance of their extensive territories. This system of administration included the appointment of loyal officials who were responsible for various aspects of governance, including revenue collection, law enforcement, and military organization. One of the notable reforms introduced by the Nandas was the establishment of a comprehensive taxation system. This system included both land revenue and trade taxes, which provided a steady and substantial revenue stream for the empire. The Nanda administration also focused on standardizing legal codes and procedures, which helped to ensure consistency and fairness in governance. The centralization of power under the Nandas was achieved through a combination of political control and military strength. The dynasty's rulers maintained tight control over their territories, using their military might to suppress rebellions and enforce loyalty. This centralized approach to governance allowed the Nandas to maintain stability and order across their vast empire. The Nanda dynasty is often remembered for its military strength and territorial expansion. The Nanda rulers built a formidable army which included infantry, cavalry, and war elephants. This military might enabled them to undertake successful campaigns against neighboring kingdoms and extend their influence over a wide area. Under the Nandas, Magadha expanded its territories significantly. The dynasty's military campaigns included the conquest of the kingdom of Kalinga, which was located in present-day Odisha. The successful annexation of Kalinga demonstrated the Nandas' military prowess and their ability to project power beyond their traditional boundaries. The Nanda army was also known for its use of advanced military tactics and strategies. The dynasty's rulers invested in fortifications and defensive structures, which helped to secure their empire against external threats. The combination of military strength and strategic planning allowed the Nandas to maintain control over their vast territories and solidify their dominance in northern and eastern India. Magadha's historical significance is underscored by its role as the foundation of the Maurya Empire. The political, administrative, and economic developments initiated by the Nanda dynasty laid the groundwork for the successful rise of the Mauryas. Chandragupta Maurya's ability to build upon the existing infrastructure and governance systems established by the Nandas was crucial in consolidating and expanding the Maurya Empire. The legacy of Magadha is evident in the Mauryan Empire's administrative practices, military organization, and economic policies, all of which were influenced by the precedents set during the Nanda period. The Mauryan Empire, with its capital at Pataliputra, continued and expanded upon the centralization and administrative reforms initiated by the Nandas, leading to a unified and highly organized empire. Magadha's influence extended far beyond its borders, impacting various aspects of Indian civilization. The spread of Buddhism and Jainism, both of which were supported by Magadhan rulers, contributed to the widespread adoption of these religions across the Indian subcontinent and beyond. The Maurya Empire, in particular, played a key role in promoting Buddhism through the efforts of Emperor Ashoka, who furthered the spread of Buddhist teachings and principles. Politically, Magadha's dominance set a precedent for the unification of India under a single empire. The administrative and military strategies developed during the Magadhan period influenced subsequent Indian dynasties and empires, shaping the political landscape of the subcontinent for centuries. Culturally, Magadha's role as a center of learning and intellectual activity contributed to the development of Indian art, literature, and philosophy. The kingdom's embrace of diverse religious and cultural traditions fostered an environment of intellectual exchange and creativity that left a lasting impact on Indian civilization. The Magadha Kingdom played a crucial role in shaping the history and development of ancient India. From its early beginnings under the Brihadratha and Pratyota dynasties to its consolidation under the Haryanka and Shaishunaga dynasties, and its eventual rise under the Nandas, Magadha emerged as a powerful and influential force in the Indian subcontinent. The kingdom's strategic location, military prowess, and economic prosperity allowed it to expand its territory, influence regional politics, and contribute to the cultural and intellectual development of the region.